Croeso Sianel Blaid Llwyd. As promised, we're back with some more Minotaur Hotel. And this amazing music, which reminds me I need to get some music set up sometime for that opening slide. It's kind of boring at the moment, I agree. Anyway, let's get on with the story. Will the people in this hotel ever forget the man who mapped its night sky? Chapter 11. The Expedition. You awaken, but unlike the other days, it is not because of the clopping of hooves. No, this fine morning you leap out of bed with a breathless urgency. There is a distant but unmistakable sound of a flute. A chill snakes up your spine to the back of your skull. As soon as you get out of your room, you find Asterion sitting at the dinner table, looking at his own hands, speechless. Just the sound of your footsteps makes his head jerk to you, ears whipping around. Visions of Argos, the snake, are already flashing through the Minotaur's mind. You tell him to stay. Today you'll deal with the foreman by yourself. You make your way down. The snake's wooden flute beckons you. The melody is at times disconcerting in how large the gaps between the notes are. So much is left of the imagination. It is more of a tribal call than it is a song. One you'd hear as a sign between villages sending messages to each other. The notes draw your steps forward. The loose rocks at the bottom of the hotel shudder as you hop from one to the other. It's a balancing act. Each one is scales shifting under your weight. You keep your feet tense and arms spread out. At times it's almost as if the rocks sway in your favour to keep your centre of gravity aligned. You feel the sun's warmth on your head first, combing over your skull. Then the pinks, oranges and blues of the land are laid bare before you. There at the threshold, it is clear how the wind howls and groans as it slithers into the hotel's cave and crawls upwards. A constant chilly breeze prickles your skin, but it's not altogether unpleasant. The cold makes your own inner warmth all the more alive. It is you, a flickering speck of humanity, against the unyielding majesty of this haunted valley. Argos' song ends with an extended note, at first grave as it drifts across the valley, but turning lively just a moment before it ceases. The snake looks down at you from the statue, no less than 5 meters above you. The difference would leave many uncomfortable. How easy would it be for him to pounce on you? But the snake holds his flute with both hands, almost cradling it against his chest. With his arms close together he seems altogether small, even if that silver-tongued smile persists. He too takes a moment to look you up and down. He covers his mouth to stifle a burst of childlike giggling. "My bright-eyed lord, once more it is an honour to witness your grace. A fine day it is, and always shall be when your countenance blesses this valley. Ah, to be given the purpose, what is a watchdog good for with no master to follow and no heifer to guard? I hope your experience so far has been as enriching as mine. Tell me, has the mirror provided thee with comfort? Has your first batch of guests arrived?" The snake leans forward, eager for every word. Were he not coiled around the statue, he'd fall like a wet noodle. That seems to bring him no discomfort. In fact, it almost seems as if he wants to climb down and meet you eye to eye. His slitted gaze does not budge from you, following even the smallest shifts in your posture. It's not often such intense focus is placed on anyone. Discomfort would be a common reaction, yet his gaze lacks a predator's edge. "I'm doing well, Argos. The mirror has been very useful. The hotel changed completely after we got the fire going. It's incredible what this realm can accomplish. Asterion will show me some of its capacities, and we have people working on some technology right now." I see. Very well. It is the prisoner's duty to inform you of the realm's workings. His obligations must not be neglected." But, I cannot lie. It is no surprise our Lord cares so much about technology. That, indeed, is human nature, to always seek change and movement. These plain walls shall not entertain a man for long, and if you shall not spend your time putting the hybrid through his trials, then technology becomes all the more imperative. Human nature, like fire, requires fresh kindling often. What do you know about human nature? You're no man, and what have you seen of humanity in this place? And about technology, how can you know anything? Judging by what I can see, the most you have ever mastered is leatherworking and wood carving. Our Lord has a sharp tongue. Indeed, I know very little. Never have I ventured beyond this valley, and forever will I remain here. But I know of the gods and of the heroes' old tales. I am an old-fashioned snake. All the epics I have memorized, all their beautiful poetry. Mankind at times displays qualities which exceed the gods. I do not scoff at human ingenuity, my lord. To diminish the importance of which would be very unsnake-like of me, would it not? Alas, what a beautiful way for us to arrive at the purpose for today's visits. My bright-eyed lord, I have the contract ready for your signature. Good. Well, stop dawdling and let's do it. He reaches in under his cloak, but stops while containing a giggle. Before we proceed, however, I must say I am frightfully sorry. I spent countless hours poring over the contract, but I could find no flaw. It is a perfectly standard contract, in accordance with the ancient customs between foreman and master. He throws you the scroll. You take a good look, and it's just as you remember it. No changes were made. I thought... Yes? Don't quite remember what I thought was wrong. Could I have some more time to think about this? But my lord, you should remember I allowed you to borrow the mirror while I reviewed the document. If it is your wish to review the contract for an extended time, then I am sorry to inform that I must collect the mirror back. How about we meet up again in a week? I have to inspect and scavenge in the valley, you see, and it will be a while, for it's convenient for me to pass by here again. But then we'd be a week without the mirror. Yes, that is very unfortunate indeed, but it is what it is. Your hotel will go without all its fantastical facilities. Your guests will be so disappointed. Very regrettable, I know. So, what will it be? Will you sign it, or will you let your precious hotel suffer? Mind you, I have no obligation to make time for negotiation in a week's time. Should misfortune strike, it could take even longer for my return. The snake's got you by the balls. There's no viable choice except signing the contract. You sign it. Marvellous, and with that you'll have all the comforts you humans are so fond of. How different would it be were humans not chained to such luxuries? Even one such as I can live off the earth. Why not humans as well? You know, we humans really enjoy sleeping under a roof. Maybe you should try it one of these days. Perhaps I will now that the contract is signed. I'll make sure to tell you how unpleasant the experience is. It must be so claustrophobic being surrounded by walls. Well then, are we done here? Can I return to my claustrophobic hotel? Not yet, my good lord. There is one final topic I wish to address, something which I'm sure will pique your interest. It is quite a simple affair. I found a bottle of wine, that special kind which heals the Minotaur. It is quite a rare thing nowadays, since it cannot be wilfully created by the masters. There's a penchant for appearing mostly, but not exclusively, here in the valley. Of course, I am forbidden from drinking it, and it is useless to me anyway, so I am willing to part with it, if certain conditions are met. What do you say, master? Are you willing to barter with this humble servant? Yes, but I want to know exactly what your terms are before I get involved. Of course. In fact, I want you to listen very carefully to my conditions. They are very specific. I've been thinking about them for such a long time. When you put it like that, it's almost as if there was some kind of a twist. Such an honourable snake like yourself wouldn't do that, would you? And me? Trick the master? For I'd never... You see, it is my duty to make sure you become a right and proper master, and that includes teaching you the importance of contracts, both written and verbal. Let's discard all pretense, yes? Allow yourself to be tricked, and I will take the opportunity. But know that it's for your own good, master. It will be a magnificent learning opportunity either way. Now, I shall recite my conditions. Good, go on, let's get it over with. Just last night, after I finished my prayers and rites, I found a bottle of wine. Now, I thought about giving it to you. After all, you are the Lord. But why not take this as a fun bonding moment? I shall give it to you if you do this one specific thing for me. I want you to prove your piety to the divine. After all, the realm's master is supposed to serve them and enact their will, is he not? In ancient times, a hecatomb would be enacted. 100 bulls would be sacrificed to the gods. But today's humans seldom enjoy getting their hands dirty. Here's what must be done. Further to the east you shall find a dry riverbed beside an old broken down set of kilns. There you'll find a fitting sacrifice. There should be a bundle with a hardened lump, not too different from coal, inside the most decayed of all kilns. You must take the offering and burn it, dedicating it to the divine. To the south of the hotel, the valley goes further down until it reaches a plateau. There is a path to its top where you'll find shrines to a few deities. Old, majestic shrines to the gods created by the deities themselves when this realm was born. Pick any of the god-made shrines and burn the offering. Wait. So you'll only give me this bottle if I venture into the valley and fetch this thing? First of all, how can I be sure this is not a fake bottle? How can I know you're not giving me false directions? This is absolutely necessary for me to prove the piety to the gods in this way. Can't I just order you to give me the bottle since, as you say... In the name of gods, why so many questions, master? I am giving you a kind offer. I'll admit expected some effort on your part, and this is how you repay me, pelting me with questions. Very well. Let's make a game out of this, shall we? I've had enough of your games, Argos. Would you rather I answer none of your inquiries, master? Fine, what do you want? I will repeat everything I just said. You can interrupt me at any time to ask what you want, but I will only allow you to do it 3 times. 3 times? Yes. 9 terms, 3 interruptions. I would say that is fair. Let's go along with it. You decide to be happy with what you're given and not press Argos for more. Fine. Splendid. I will repeat my terms then. Just last night, after I finished my prayers and rites, I found a bottle of wine. Now, I thought about giving it to you. After all, you are the Lord. But why not take this as a fun bonding moment? I shall give it to you if you do this one specific thing for me. I want you to prove your piety to the divine. After all, the realm's master is supposed to serve them and enact their will, is he not? Can't I prove my piety some other way? I would welcome your faith in all shapes, but if it's the wine you seek, then I shall only cooperate if you enact this rite. I would loathe to see you make an inadequate offering, like the ones in the modern religions. Impious wretches, the whole lot of them. In ancient times, a hecatomb would be enacted. 100 bulls would be sacrificed to the gods. For today's humans seldom enjoy getting their hands dirty. Here's what must be done. Further to the east, you shall find a dry riverbed beside an old broken-down set of kilns. There you'll find a fitting sacrifice. There should be a bundle with a hardened lump, not too different from coal, inside the most decayed of all kilns. How do I know that's going to be there? You can trust me. I left it there myself for you to find, my good lord. It should be easy to find. It's just sitting there inside the broken kiln. It was used for cooking clay pots long ago, but it's useless now. Just open it up and the sacrifice will be in front of the door. May I add, there are some other trinkets behind the kilns too, if you want to check that out. That sounds needlessly convoluted. Why didn't you just give it to me? Why do I have to go all the way there to find it? To test your faith, of course. A sacrifice is only worth the effort required to perform it. If I just gave it you, it'd be no sacrifice at all. You must take the offering and burn it, dedicating it to the divine. To the south of the hotel, the valley goes further down until it reaches a plateau. There is a path to its top where you will find shrines to a few deities. Old majestic shrines to the gods, created by the deities themselves when this realm was born. Pick any of the god-made shrines and burn the offering. One of the god-made shrines. Are you implying one of them is not god-made? Perhaps. Oh my, aren't you a sharp one? One of the shrines, the smallest, shyest one by far, is dedicated to some forgotten deity dating back to who knows when. Such a diminutive thing. It's just a cairn, a pile of rocks with a length of fabric tied around it. I suppose it's some ancient form of worship. Whatever it is, I assure you it pays no homage to the Olympians, and that should be reason alone to avoid it. Worst of all, I'm afraid it is erected by the bull himself. It bears no legitimacy. Ignore it. I have no duty to give you the bottle should you offer the sacrifice to it. With that said, any one of the god-made shrines will do, and I really do mean it. I hope you're satisfied with your inquiries, Master. So that's the task at hand then. Make a sacrifice and prove my piety to the gods, and then you'll give me the bottle? Haven't I kept my word so far, Master? I'll think about it. Maybe I should ask Asterion, get a heads up on what I might find here. Must you always involve the prisoner in all your affairs? Very well, then go back to the creature. However, when you climb up the stairs and up to your hotel, make sure to climb 2 steps at a time. After all, I don't know how much longer I can keep holding on to this bottle without letting it slip and shatter. I can be so clumsy sometimes. Excuse me? Yes, I do think that is a thing that might happen if your devotion to the gods is not proven in, let's say, 2 days. Does that work for you? Wait, 2 days? You can't be serious. That wasn't part of the deal. Oh, so you think piety is something someone can procrastinate on, is it? Well, that's just wonderful. Some master you are. You know, I'm beginning to have second thoughts about this bottle. Maybe you really are not worthy after all. Say, I am feeling awfully thirsty this morning. Fine, 2 days it is, as long as you don't make up any more stupid rules. Do we have a deal? The snake slithers closer to you. You flinch for a second. When you look back, you see his hand outstretched towards you. Argos sports the widest grin he's given you so far. That sounds good to me, Master. I hate to do it, but you're out of options. Whatever hoops he might make you jump through are worth the reward. You shake Argos' hand. You make your disgust clear by wrenching your hand out of his grip when it's over. The serpent laughs at you. Well then, no time to waste. Up you go. You turn around and start walking back towards the cave. This is not how you expected your morning to start. As you make your way, Argos' words echo in your head, and the full weight of the task at hand begins to dawn on you. As you recall his last line, you notice your feet are picking up the pace. By the time you make it to the staircase, you're at a full-on sprint. You curse the snake as you, indeed, climb 2 steps at a time, just like he said you would. Things are off to a bad start. You haven't even begun your task and already jumping through Argos' hoops. You arrive at the master's quarters where Asterion is already dressed and waiting for you with a sombre face. He is biting his lip, holding himself from asking any questions while you catch your breath. Good morning, Asterion. Good morning, Master. How did it go? Well, I have good news and bad news. You catch Asterion up on everything Argos told you. The contract, the bottle, your task, and the 2-day limit. You expected him to perk up when hearing about the wine bottle, but it seems like it contained his excitement, as if he was expecting the inevitable caveat. So yes, we have 2 days to go get the bottle. I decided to come ask you what I'd be up against instead of going to the labyrinth right away. Asterion ponders on the situation for a moment, before his face eases into a smile, strained with a lot of baggage behind it, but a smile nonetheless. Well, I appreciate your concern, Master, but I don't think the bottle is worth the trouble. The labyrinth houses a lot of dangers I would rather you be spared from. I can heal just fine on my own. I will just take longer. No, I mean it. If I can help you get back to your former self, I'll do everything I can. There's also the matter of the internet project. I think this will distract us from getting it finished. I fear that if we do not focus on it, we will lose some guests. Or, even worse, fail to attract them in the first place. But this is urgent. We have a dilemma in our hands then. If we have to choose between one or the other, I suggest we focus on the internet project. Wait a minute, maybe we can multitask. Multitask? Well, we have you, Kota, and me. Maybe we can split the task between us three? Asterion flinches. I would very much prefer not to be sent to the valley, Master. Besides, I had a conversation with Luke. I know he is upset with Kota, but maybe he can help with the other task? I know he has his issues, but after last night he might be willing to help. That sounds like a good idea. Maybe we should all meet at the lobby then? As you command, Master. I will go look for them right away. Half an hour later. This is preposterous, the nerve. I will happily leave my post at the restaurant to help you, Mr. Leo, but I expect respect in return. So far, 15 minutes of my time have been wasted by this oaf. Kota, I know you're both upset at each other, but can we please keep it civil? This is important. All I'm saying is we can get started right away, just you, Asterion, and I. I cannot fathom any task that cannot be performed without... good morning, Mr. Asterion. Good morning, Mr. Walker. Yeah, shut your trap. Don't act like I didn't just hear you talking shit. Howdy, Leo. Sorry for the delay. Asterion took his sweet time finding me. I wasn't exactly in my room, let's just say. So what's this about? Well, we have a situation on our hands. As you're both aware, we're doing everything possible to establish an internet connection in the hotel. Dang, that's some good news there. I haven't talked to my ma in a hot minute. It is, but we seem to have stumbled into another problem that needs our attention, and it looks like we're understaffed, which is why we called you, Luke. The Master will be going to the valley below the hotel today, and could use some assistance with it. And we also need to work on establishing the internet connection. There's 3 of us. I think we can be split into 2 teams. One will work on research and development, and the other will go explore the valley. Well, count on me, Leo. Sure. As long as he's far away from me. Well, I'll be. For once we agree on something. Sure, I think we can manage. Now we're going to skip the tutorial just for video purposes. It's worth going through if you haven't done this before. So we have Luke going to explore. We're leaving Kota and Asterion on their R&D. With the 4 of you assigned to your roles, you bid Asterion and Kota farewell as Luke and you head towards the staircase leading to the valley. The valley is laid bare ahead of you in all its curves. Rivers and rock strata snake across the landscape, guiding your vision to the orange and blue horizon. The air is somehow both chilly and humid. It blows against your chest and crawls around your spine, making your hair stand up and your cheeks flush. The days spent inside the hotel have left you used to its sterile, stagnant odours. This land defies that entirely. The very scent is alive. A thick cloud of petrichor wafts up, as if a light drizzle had just fallen over the valley, along with the scent of herbs and shallow vegetation. You can't help but shiver as you take the final step towards the sun and out into this God's forsaken land. Luke and you follow the snake's instructions and set out to the east. For a while conversation flows between the two of you. However, the hike ahead of you is long and arduous, and the sweltering sun refuses to yield. One can't keep talking for long under these circumstances. You settle into a rhythm and you fall into a trance. Leave a place unattended for too long, and something thicker than silence takes root. It burrows itself and leaves only its eyes out, peeking from the sand. It spreads its roots, grows branches, blooms its flowers, and waits until a wandering soul passes by close enough to graze at its spine. It lowers its branches to grip you and pull you back to your place of belonging. They prickle the back of one's skull and raise the hairs at the nape of one's neck. Once you're gone, these creatures do not welcome the living. Something as shy as one's breathing's enough to tense their branches, contracting them into gnarled talons. But trudge on. Once a place is taken over by these cobwebs, it is bound to take a while to banish them all. Claim the land, crush the pebbles under the might of your stampede, with your stomping gait, break them open to reveal the jagged flesh within. Leap on top of the precarious stones, feel them shifting and rebalancing under your weight. As they threaten to topple, jump off to the next, land soft-footed, and may your heel land without a peep from the rock. Taste your own swaying step as you climb a soft sandy dune. Have no shame when it grows steep, but trudge on it like a beast and slash your claws into the sand's tender chest. Rest your hand out as if it was a pagan ritual, as if instead of stray sand an enemy's lifeblood sprayed out. When your breath quickens and sweat drips from your brow, glance at the horizon and hear its cries against your might. Let rage simmer at the top of your throat, but swallow it and trudge on, champion. Know well, this is your valley, a cursed land bequeathed by the gods to humans to do with as they please. Its pebbles threaten to trip you, but are cleaved instead by your march. Its precarious stones shift back and forth to topple you, but are left turned and exposed. The vegetation reaches out to pull you back by the ankles and shoulders, but your will is sovereign. In your wake all that is left are broken twigs and dried leaves. Have no mercy for this barren soil, crush it under your heel. You are the realm's master, so let it fear your might. Just as the sun reaches its apex, half a dozen structures crop up over the horizon. There's a human regularity to their placement. By then your clothes are drenched, and your face is caked with a layer of sweat, oil and dirt. But no hunger gnaws away at you, nor do your eyes grow weary. In fact, the idea of reaching your goal and stopping makes you restless. As you approach, it becomes clear which is the one most decayed of them all. Some of its ceiling has collapsed, letting in a beam of sunlight. While Luke investigates the place, you search for the offering Argos described. You open the door of the cracked kiln. Light pours in and a rancid smell creeps out. It clings to your nostrils and tongue, a metallic, rank scent. It claws its way into your chest and flares the fire burning in you. The contents of your stomach boil up into your throat, and you cringe while trying to keep yourself together. The searing stench is unrelenting. It thrashes inside you, trying to grasp your heart, till a groan brings you back to reality. Inside there is a pit, more than 6 feet deep, dug out a long time after the kiln's original construction. Something shifts inside the kiln. A dark shape whose every movement is accompanied by the rumble of rock groaning against itself. There's a head, with eyes aimed at you and swinging from left to right like someone trapped in a convulsion. The whole thing shudders as it comes back to life and throws an arm in your direction, but shrieks against the light coming from behind you. You jerk back in fright, and in doing so swing the door open further. The thing recoils, shrieks again, and falls down into ruined weeping as its shape is revealed. It's pitch black and made out of stone, but its form is human. In fact, it has the bountiful curves and long flowing hair of a woman. But below the waist there is nothing. Her legs have been smashed away, and only dark clumps of jagged rock remain. The thing switches back and forth between recoiling from the light and throwing its arms in your direction. But even if it lunged at you, it would fail. The pit is too deep for the stone woman to reach you in a legless state. It's only then you look downwards. A little bundle of leaves waiting for you a few inches away from the door. Fits Argos' description. This must be what he wants you to sacrifice. You take the bundle and close the door behind you.
Holy shit, partner, be more careful next time.
Yes, that was scary. I think my curiosity got the best of me. But I got the bundle, I suppose.
Listen, Leo, I think it'd be best if I handle this, just in case more critters jump at you, and you ain't so lucky. Maybe it not look like it, but your old pal Luke's been through some shit. Tougher shit than this.
You sure?
Sure, I got this. You should get your ass back to the hotel.
You let Luke explore the rest of the kilns and get ready for the long walk back to the hotel. All right, before I forget, Luke, Argos said something about looking behind the kilns. You might want to check that out.
Will do, pal.
The expedition took you long enough. If you don't want to be out here at nightfall, you need to return soon. You pack up and set out for home. Your first stop when arriving at the hotel is the lounge. Since you spent the last week in a place where food and drink are always at your disposal, you haven't felt this thirsty in a very long while. Your next stop is the master's quarters. You take a long shower to wash away all the grime and tension, then sit on the couch to rest and reflect on the day. The bundle is sitting on the dinner table. Every once in a while your thoughts drift back to it and how little time you have left to sacrifice it. You can only hope that Luke discovered something that might help. After a while you decide to go check your team's progress. Let's check in on the R&D team. The R&D team made some progress, but no project was completed. Let's check on the exploration team. Your team got really lucky and found 6 raw materials, twice what you expected. Other than that, your exploration team didn't make any big discoveries. Oh, by the way, did you get a chance to look behind the kiln?
Oh yeah, I was half expecting another one of those things to come jumping at me, ready to find something there.
Luke hands you a clay tablet. You obtained a clay tablet depicting a crime against divine order. We'll check that out later. After checking on your teams, you head to the lounge for dinner. Tonight's dinner isn't noteworthy. After all, Coda spent the day busy with other tasks, but everyone seems to be enjoying the night. The guests that worked on the internet project surround Asterion. They all seem to have grown quite familiar with each other over the whole ordeal. He smiles and laughs with their jokes. He even plays along most of the time. But more often than not, his gaze drifts away just as his ears droop. Midway through the meal, Asterion excuses himself and bids everyone a good night. Just before leaving, he looks at you and nods. After finishing your meal and enjoying some time with the guests, you get up to return to your quarters. However, as you walk toward the stairs, something catches your ears. Just further ahead, coming from outside the hotel, there's the plucking of strings. No melody ties these idle notes together, and each one hangs in the air until it silences itself. There's a sharp-edged twinge preceding each note, as if whoever played it had forced the string and let it out in agony. You follow the sound and open the door. The Minotaur's ears flick to catch your footsteps and the doors groan, but his stare remains aimed at the stars. His middle finger caresses a string, then pulls it as it rolls on his skin. The Minotaur lets it hook on his nail and keeps pulling, forcing the string out as his hand hardens and contracts into a claw. He plucks the lyre string with that same sharpness and cringes as he lets it go. A grunt escapes his throat and his tail thrashes. He lays a hand over the strings, ceasing a dying hum, and lets his head hang.
Good evening, my lord.
Good evening, Asterion. Enjoying some fresh air?
Yes. I needed to do some thinking and rehearsing.
Is something the matter? The Minotaur hunches over his lyre, readjusting his hands upon it, trying to find a position that doesn't feel so awkward. His forearm twitches as he sucks air in until his back expands, then lets it out through his mouth.
I suppose it all became too much today. So many things have been happening all at once. Good things, but it's so much. It all bounced around in my head. All the people, all the tasks, the Valley expedition too. So I came here, To think.
Oh, if you want I can go back and let you have your privacy. Sorry to interrupt.
No. If you have a minute to spare, I would like to bring a matter to your attention.
Sure, go on.
It's just... You don't have to do this.
What do you mean?
You don't have to... You shouldn't help me. Going out to the valley yourself, dedicating your time and getting in harm's way for me. I will heal on my own, given enough time.
Are you saying this because the expedition might interfere with the internet research? You don't have to worry about that. Now that we're split into teams, it's manageable.
That's not it.
He fingers the lyre's strings, letting out an aimless hum of notes.
I am afraid you'll be disappointed after this is all done.
The Minotaur looks down and brings his legs together to support the weight of the lyre, then raises both his hands to scratch and claw the back of his skull. The fur at the back of his neck stands up as he keeps scratching, digging in with such a ferocity you'd not be surprised to see tufts of hair coming out. All the while he mumbles and grunts under his breath, searching for words that will not come. I'm afraid I don't get what you mean.
Sometimes it just becomes too much to me. Even if I enjoy the company, all the life, I can't stop myself from wishing everything would stop.
Well, you were locked away for a long time. It's no wonder it becomes overwhelming for you, all those years in a silent, dark room.
It was still like that before that happened. My stomach twists and turns, fire crawls up to the back of my throat, and this dull nausea makes me hunch over. Feels like the whole world is about to fall apart at any moment. I just wanted to stop.
He hugs his lyre. When he tries talking again, the words get stuck in his throat. He hunches over to spit them out, but all that comes out is another groan. You don't seem too well. You might be having an anxiety attack, or perhaps you're panicking. I know you've been through a lot, and I can't see my words do much to reassure you. I mean, how much do words mean? But I'll say it anyway. I'll do everything in my power to make the hotel fulfill its mission. Nothing bad will happen to you. The Minotaur's back straightens, and his tail jerks along with his ears. He looks up again to the stars, holding his instrument, just as the breeze passes by to send chills up your spine. Asterion snorts, shakes himself, and for a moment it would seem as if an invigorated spirit is taken over. His voice, however, tells another story. When he speaks again, it comes out dulled, sluggish, with each syllable deliberately enunciated.
This lyre, my lord, it does not look old, does it? Its strings will always give out such lively notes, so easy to weave into a delightful tune.
One by one of all Asterion's anxious quirks, the hair standing up at the back of his neck, his hooves scraping against the ground, the fingers flickering over the strings. They all silence themselves. In its place is another being which, albeit pacified, seems despondent in a whole new, cold, controlled way. And yet, this lyre is older than any country back in the world of the living. I've played it ever since I was a kid. When my father sent me to the labyrinth, I didn't get to take much with me. He thought it would be distracting, but a guard sneaked it in for me. It is so odd to me. For over a century I tried learning how to use cutlery, and as you could see, I never succeeded. But it wasn't so when I was a child. I could learn anything back then. How to carve wood, shoot arrows, play this old friendly lyre. It helps me think. It drowns out everything else. Even just tuning it feels like it puts everything else in order. My old friend. Would you like to take a seat with me tonight? As turbulent as my mind may be, a little audience would be. I would enjoy your company. And as we head up to chapter 12, we are going to leave it here for tonight. The next video with the Minotaur Hotel will carry on from this, probably in March. And speaking of videos and stuff, I have to make a quick mention to Evan King, Grizz, Popot, David Taylor, The Beholder, and Samutu, who are my top patron supporters at the moment. Thanks, guys, for doing it, and everyone who was mentioned at the beginning in the slide there. I really didn't expect this much support when I started doing this. It's been really good. So again, thanks for that. And the next video coming up on the channel, Far Beyond the World. Yeah, I know you're all asking me about that one. And Kale is still working on some stuff there, but that will be the next video. That might be a Valentine's Day special. We'll see. But there'll be definitely more Far Beyond the World and Rannoch, and then I think probably some Tennessee after that, but we'll have to see how things go. We'll be back to Minotaur Hotel next month. Till then, bye for now.